I agree. Nothing wrong with practicing. It's always refreshing. But when you're half-assing your patches, that becomes an issue. It doesn't become refreshing. It becomes stressful. I blame this all on patch error, dude. Because now we got characters doing this. Here we go. Back at it again. Off one throw. One time. Yo, what's good, everybody? We are back. You already know I'm about to tell you guys right now. Support your boy, okay? Support him. All right, so today's video, we're going to talk about modern-day fighting game characters, man. All right, look, so I feel like a lot of characters have been a huge topic of, like, are they broken? Should we ban them and things like that? But look, man, we're going to go ahead and explain to you why things are kind of, like, domino affected to these type of issues in the competitive side. Now, if you're playing the game casually, you can kind of just sit back and kind of relax and eat some popcorn. But for the people who are trying to compete, we already know how it's going to be. And let's jump into it right now, guys. Bro, you know what's crazy? Everybody's like super excited for Sin, but guess what they're going to do? They're going to butcher his normals. He's going to be the most 5-year-old character. Maybe he might have all the broken options because they were like, yo, he's a 5-year-old, so we must give him all accessibilities in life. Take my man ankles, dog. Companies are always butchering normals. I don't know what it is with companies and normals, bro. They just been cutting. If there's one thing they attack first, it's some normals. I play Ram because I like good normals. That's very good. I'm very happy that you play Ram because Ram do have some good normals. I actually am jealous that she's the only character in this game that has quote unquote good normals. I wouldn't lie and say I'm afraid of season 2. Because of how the changes are going to go. I don't know. They're not saying anything, but I'm so concerned. So concerned that because people are complaining about the wrong things. And then on top of that, they have other companies tell you, don't listen what people say. Just go by the analytics. And that's even worse. Don't think they aren't that dumb, to be honest, to be bombing following those stats. Man, I don't know, bro. They said Leo had a hard time opening people up. What you said literally happens in other games, by the way. Play rate dictating balance. Yeah, that shit is terrifying, dude. I'm like so scared about it. Dude, I'm afraid of KOF, dude. You know what else I'm afraid of KOF too? Because you know everybody's complaining about Vanessa and Gato. I'm afraid that they're gonna just completely like body slam them and he just ain't gonna have any arms anymore. If they just made all the other characters good, no one would be complaining as much. But it's the fact that they're not only good, but they do everything. But like, let all the other characters do good too. This is why I'm so afraid of patch era, because like, you know, they release these like busted ass and then they be like, we'll fix it later. And then they'll, not only that they'll do the fixing, but then they add additional changes that nobody asked for. As a player, it's actually so unfair. It's so, like, we getting the short end of the stick. It's really bad. You know what's funny? In case you didn't watch the DLC movie, basically, Faust, you know, he became like the superpower and he like summoned this big ass door. And that's basically what Arcsys did. They made this big ass door for people to enter the Guilty Gear world. But after you guys walked into the door, it was just nothing but emptiness. And it's like, it did its great job getting people on board, but now what? What's the next step? Because it's like, all right, well, we got all of this in, you know, we got all the cool part. But then we starting to like look at these like little issues like, hey, you know, I don't think it was designed well. And then because it's easier now, it makes it even more like exhausting to deal with. Like, you know, even a lot of people who are like, yo, I love damage, I love the strive damage, blah, 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 blah. Majority of people got burnt out. You know why? Because everybody started doing the same thing they were doing. It was like, oh, you're doing this with Ram? Well, I'm going to do it with Ram now. Do you think the DLC characters felt rushed? I did. I do think some of the DLC characters felt rushed. Yes. I feel like the whole game was rushed, honestly. That's the thing, is like, they're trying so hard to like appeal to everything, and like when you do that, the problem is like no one gets happy. Even the people who play the game they're not going to be happy either. Let's show an example of like what's going on now. You know, Dara was actually one of the most strongest players that I ever fought in Guilty Gear. Like, I'm telling you, he was like a threat. Now look at this. They start laughing. I hate the disrespect of legacy players. Whenever they lose in a more accessible game, they get dogged the worst. Yeah, it's so crazy. But you know why people do that? It's because, I wouldn't say it's a pride, it's an ego issue. This is a very ego issue. And one of the biggest things is they just don't want to acknowledge that, like, yo, this it's broken. Like, in terms of like ease of use. Something like this shouldn't be that easy to do. But that's the thing. It's like, well, what if we just take all the hard stuff and make it easy? And then this is a prime example of what we get. And then what's funny is that people who never played the game before, they still have a hard time doing something like this. So my theory is, why make it easier if it's already hard to do now and it's already considered easy? In that case, you might as well just keep it the way it is, honestly. I mean, granted, you know, I think one frame links is a little too crazy. Like, everybody combo system shouldn't be revolved around one frame link. But I think, like, input like this, there should be a little bit more of like a barrier. The problem is Happy Chaos is not bannable. All of the good characters do the same stuff that he does. He just happened to do it full screen. But he's doing the same thing like 5 other characters are doing. So it's not like what he's doing is like game breaking. I'm a newcomer to GG and fighting games in general. After playing a bit of Plus R, I think Strive simplifying certain things was a massive benefit to people like me. People that have wanted to play fighting games for a while but never got hooked. Things like having a dash button and having really linear and simple motion inputs has done a lot for other people to get into fighter. Not everything should have been simplified though. That's how I feel. That's exactly what I was saying, Marco, I think I 1000% agree with that. I think them making the inputs easier, perfect. Okay, we got that. That's totally okay. I agree that like having a dash button and stuff like that, it's also good. Yeah. Some people have a hard time doing instant air dash and stuff like that. Like, those alone already reduce execution. Now, when you start simplifying combos on top of that, with also a dash button, that's when things are different. Xrd was extremely accessible. But you know what the problem was with Xrd had that I'm glad they took away from this game? Different wake-up options, different timings of your wake-up options too. I think those two are like so stupid that had not been in the game. That should not have been in the game. They took that out of this game, which was great. But then they were like, well, we don't want the game to be like, we don't want it to be like more set play. But I'm like, well, if you take various knockdowns away, and then you make it where every character gets like hard knockdown, the game becomes exactly what you said it didn't want to be. So what are you talking about? So it blows my mind when people say, well, I'd rather die in 2 hits than get Oki to death. And I'm sitting back in my head, I was like, but at least you live. Now now this is also to say that like, old Guilty Gear did high damage. That game did high damage also. Some of the damage that you did also had room for error. It wasn't just like ABC. Also, there were also character-specific weight classes, too. So there's a lot of things that you had to keep in mind, that you had to remember. But now, everybody can do it. And there's no room for error, which is fine. But now you got to reduce the damage. I agree. Nothing wrong with practice. It's always refreshing. But when you're half-assing your patches, that becomes an issue. It doesn't become refreshing. It becomes stressful. I blame this all on patch error, dude. Because now, we got characters doing this. Here we go. Back at it again. Off one throw. One time. Hey, you just got to learn the matchup. You know what people say? You know what people are going to tell you? It's like, well, if you want to play to win, you got to play the best character. Well, let's enter a tournament. Let's watch a tournament where that actually happens. Oh, Chris G, I forgot. So everybody besides Chris G and Reno, Lab Coat 21, Lab Coat 21, Lab Coat 21. Strive is a bit different. I explained to you a little bit too, but like even then, you can see a lot of like kind of like the most popular characters. The problem is when you keep making games more easier, you get things like this. You know, you get like Mad Bardox, you get Mad Lab Coats, you get all of that. You get Mad Leos, you get Mad Happy Chaos, you get Mad all these characters. And then other characters just, you don't see them as often. And then you gotta wait 2 years until you start seeing them. You know what's crazy? I was one of the first Vegeta players. I was like, yo, this character's broken. And then they nerfed him, I was like, oh, he's alright. And then Season 3 came out, I was like, yo, he's OD again. And everybody was like, nah. And then Season 4 came out, and a player pushed his strength out, and everybody said he's broken again. The problem with the game is homogenized. If 2 characters are near identical, but one is 1% better, why play the worst one if it doesn't take the effort to learn better characters? Yeah, and that's the problem. That is the problem. And then the thing is about it is like offensive characters are always the easiest characters to go to. Offense is the easiest thing to learn in fighting games. Now, if your character hit buttons and leads to stuff, All you gotta do is practice combos, and then you already doing great success already with that. Why do you think Leo's so popular? Yeah, you know it's crazy. They said Testament is such an easy character to play, and everybody asked me. I was like, I don't think they're easy. I was like, if anything, I think they're hard as hell. Yeah, and they got a 5-star or 4-star. Exactly, and that's the thing. Like, they don't know what difficulty means, and that showed me alone that they actually don't know what hard means. I hate that in a state like this, we gotta play in a competitive environment, bro. Every time companies want to go esports, in terms of competitive side, not the game itself. Let me word myself correctly. On the competitive side, because the game is fine if you play for fun.